Dark. Okay. I've got to have something.
Yeah? I think that's a better
one. Okay. Yeah, this one's
there you are. You're good.
Sounds fine, yeah.
Annabelle. Okay. On behalf of Andrea and Jerry and Bob and Steve, thank you for coming to our little soiree to send these women off into their retirement. We want to... We need you to fill up the glasses because throughout this little short program, we're going to ask for different groups of people to offer a toast or to share a memory or to reminisce a little bit. So it's going to be kind of interactive. These ladies know that they are in for some changes. 2 weeks ago, we were leaving Redbud High School graduation, and Joyce teared up again and said, "We're leaving our last graduation as teachers here at Redbud High School. It's never going to be the same." And we all said, "No, it's not." But do we really want to spend, do you really want to spend the rest of your life eating lunch with your friends in 30-minute increments, interrupted on a regular basis with questions about souffles and cakes and pork roast? And how many times, Paulette, at the end of lunch, did we say, "No, I hate that bell. I hate the bell. Why does it always have to ring now?" Every day she said that. So I've talked to enough people who have retired who have wonderful stories about long, leisurely lunches. So you may have to work a little harder to carve out time with your school buddies, but I think it'll be worth it. So I'm wondering if there are any retirees out there who would like to share some wisdom with these ladies or some advice about life as a retiree so they can get started out just right. Or any memories from you retirees of your time spent with them. Any retirees? With so many toys and Joyce with all those cooking things. And that's Dale Hewer who said that. Anybody else? Oh, those retirees are shy. Okay, we'll move to the next group. I wanted to, I do have it, wait a second. I got a letter from Mr. Hargrave. Mr. Hargrave, for those of you who don't know, was our principal for 18 years. So all of us spent a lot of time with Mr. Hargrave. And this was part of his motley crew. There was a group of us who went, I think, to every prom and every homecoming, and he always made sure he got a picture of his motley crew, and that included Dale, and that included Rick Cavalier, and husband Fouquet. Please accept my sincere apologies for not responding in a more timely manner to your invitation to share in the retirement with Joyce, Linda, Paulette, and Vicki. Although we will not be able to attend, we certainly want to wish each of them a happy and enjoyable retirement. It was a real pleasure working with these wonderful ladies. Their dedication to the school, the community, not always, and their profession deserves a standing ovation. Yeah. But we're sure going to tell him about it. Their dedication, let's see, it's a real pleasure working with these wonderful ladies. They also served as outstanding role models for their students. Teachers carry a heavy responsibility in educating young people, and these ladies did an excellent job and should take great pride in what they've done throughout their entire careers. The students of Redbud have benefited greatly from their exposure to these ladies. Brenda and I really enjoyed our years in Redbud, and it was a pleasure working with all the employees of the high school and the school district. Thanks for the invitation, and please convey our congratulations to the fabulous foursome. A toast from the retirees to the retirees. Okay, here. Fabulous foursome. Cheers. As Mr. Hargrave pointed out, these ladies are no strangers to hard work. I've made a list here. lessons to grade, papers, art projects, and food projects by the thousands, festivals, proms, student council activities, homecomings, senior trips, and the latest incarnation of teacher accountability sent down from ISBE. Platinum Chef, Art du Jour, Art on the Square. Organizing students to paint windows and walls and faces. Organizing kids to cater chamber dinners, superintendent dinners, and breakfast and Christmas walks. Preparing kids for local, district, regional, state, and national competition in business, student council leadership, art, food, Skills USA. Developing skills for softball games and tournaments and Special Olympics. And organizing hundreds of field trips. Maybe more importantly, taking kids who struggle to read at grade level, or type 30 words a minute, or draw a straight line, or cook an egg, taking those kids and convincing them they will not only succeed in the basics, but maybe someday they'll actually love Shakespeare, or they will have their own business, or they will work in a graphic arts studio, or they will be a kitchen manager for a 4-star restaurant. That's what you guys have done. Now, what we'd like now, I know there are some former students. Are there any former students of these four who would like to say something or offer a toast to these fabulous four women? Everybody's so shy, Becky. Yay!
I had my mom for 4 years in art. And I'll say this, everyone thought I was getting off easy. The entire 4 years I was in art. Said, your mom's the art teacher, she's going to give you A's on everything, she wants you to pass. I'll tell you, I think I had it harder than most other kids in all those classes. And I appreciate it. It's come full circle. I have a career in art and architecture and math and everything that all of these wonderful teachers have taught me throughout my life. And I just really appreciate everything you guys have done. And congratulations, I could not do your job on a daily basis. I have learned that. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes, you have to come up.
Yay.
Gotta come up.
I was only privileged to have Mrs. Franklin for my teacher. I should have had Mrs. Carnahan because I cannot cook and I hate to cook and I still don't cook, so I should have had you for teacher. Mrs. Franklin, though, was my art teacher, my craft teacher, my photography teacher, and there is so much in my life today that I owe to you. And I'm probably going to cry, so just get ready. I love photography. I got to develop my own pictures in the darkroom, and it was, I have a great camera. I'm the official family photographer, and my whole house is plastered with pictures that I learned how to take from Mrs. Franklin. And I also have to share that I can draw the best tree ever. Because if you were in art with Mrs. Franklin and you just said, we need to practice drawing our trees, she would let you go outside, out of the classroom. Make sure you draw trees. Oh, they are, don't worry. So I can draw very, very good trees because I like to go outside and not be in the classroom. But you are fabulous, and all of you. I just can't even imagine working now in our school district. I can't imagine not having you guys there. So, and Paulette, I had so much fun with you last summer. And Mrs. Peppes, you were there too when I was in high school, and I never had you, but you're amazing. So, but thank you for helping me to learn to draw trees and eyes. I can draw portrait. I cannot draw the rest of the portraits, but I can draw beautiful eyes because of Mrs. Franklin. And a Campbell soup can, which she made me draw a Campbell soup can on this huge, beautiful collection, which she just told me she's taking home. And the whole entire time I'm thinking, why am I painting a soup can? And why is it so hard? It's only 2 colors. It was, yeah. So, but you're amazing. Thank you so much.
person.
I never took any of my mom's classes. Embarrassed. No. I told her, when you get home, you can teach me to type. Never. I know. I found it though. I'm pretty fast. I did take Mrs. Franklin's class. And Mrs. Franklin was an interesting teacher because my family knows Jerry and Linda so well. Okay. I loved art. It was so much fun. You are an amazing teacher. I have the Darth Vader sculptured head to prove it. I love it. It's put away in the closet. My little girl over there has just discovered Star Wars. So we love Star Wars. And then it's her time, and I can trust her with it. She will see it. So thank you very much.
No one was up here talking about Joyce, so I had to be up here. I had Joyce all 4 years of high school, and I learned how to sew, which my husband still won't let me sew his clothes. He always sent it to his mom, but I learned to sew, I learned to cook, I learned to do all kinds of great things because of Joyce. And high school was hard for me because I went from a little school to a large high school, which is not really that large, but she was my role model. She was the one I looked up to, and love you, Joyce. Okay, I didn't win the lottery bingo here because I only had 3 out of the 4 teachers. But I do know all 4 of them pretty well. I think I got to know them better after I graduated. I do have fond memories of the 3 that I had while in school. They all were amazing at making class fun, making the lessons enjoyable to learn, and working with everybody so we learned that well. I still use my cookbook that I got in your class, Joyce. I look at it all the time for, I remember I had a recipe for that, so I'll flip through that and I'll look it up. And I know after I graduated, she's helped me so much with Christmas editions for the North County News. I'll say, hey Joyce, do you mind if I come in and get recipes from your students or take pictures? And she's always been accommodating and platinum chef. And Miss Franklin, I had so much fun in her class. I had 2 classes my senior year. I asked for double trouble then. Maybe it's because she wouldn't let me in art club my freshman year because I wasn't in an art class, and so she wouldn't let me in, even though I still helped with the float that year, though, even though I wasn't in art club. I remember that. It was the year we made the palm trees and all that, which we had one of those palm trees in my room for a few years. It was yours, but I still had it. So I will never forget that, and nobody else could teach me how to crochet. Somehow you figured out how to teach me, and then I tried to teach my sister Lee, and she couldn't figure out how to chain to save her life, and somehow you taught her. I don't know how. And then Miss Dutterdine, as I know, you taught me how to keyboard and all the computer basics, and which I use in my day-to-day career, which have helped me so much. And then I know after I graduated and I helped coach the speech and debate team, and we were always crashing in your computer lab, and you were always so accommodating with us, and it was so helpful, and it meant so much to me that you were opened up for us. And then Vicki, well, I never really had your class. I met you after I graduated, and I met you a few times in school, but afterwards, I met you and saw all the things you did and all that you have done, and it's just amazing all you do for your students. So all 4 of you, I wish you all the best, and the school will not be the same without you guys there. So. I've had the privilege of, I'm going to try it. I had all 4 of them. I don't know why I'm crying. The most I learned from Miss Carnahan was to sew. Everybody would say cooking, but I learned more about sewing. Miss Peppes, I've learned everything. Miss Franklin, photography. arts and everything. She introduced me to art, which I love. Miss Editing, typing, business etiquette, all that great stuff. Everything that helped me through my college, and I'm glad for all of you. I like that you said So I did have my mom in class. I think I was probably the most annoying student she ever had because I was always I always wanted to be a day ahead of everyone else. I was always like, I'm done, give me the next assignment. And because she was my mom, I thought she had to. And you did. I think I was probably just super annoying for you. I also had Joyce, and my husband can attest. I'm not sure what I learned in that class. I don't cook. I burn tacos. I don't know. I did only have one semester, and I did learn how to make pies, and apparently I can make an okay pie. And bread, yes, I do bake, but I cannot cook still. But it's not because of Joyce. Do you want to talk? You're going to have a turn later, okay? But I did not have Miss Franklin, I did not have Mrs. Peppes, but I've gotten to know you because you're such great friends with my mom, and I know that Redbud High School will not be the same without the four of you wandering the halls, and Annabelle agrees with me. They won't leave the stage.
Alright. So I have my mom for 1 year or 1 semester of study hall. I've never studied so hard in my life. It just made me get all my homework done really quickly. But I feel like I'm up here, I didn't have any of these guys because I don't have any of their skills that they teach. And I kind of know that, whatever I know how to do, I just kind of stick with that. But I feel like we should point out here, I was a member of the very successful class of 2000. Might I add, 4-time homecoming float champion class of 2000. And
love of your parents.
Right, I'm getting to that. And who were the 2 class sponsors? My lovely mom and Mrs. Peppes. So I think it's important to point out that not only do these 4 lovely ladies do such a great job teaching their students, but they went above and beyond. They really gave it their all and went out and built floats after school and stuff like that. And just did these things in terms of putting on proms and putting on homecomings and things like that were really important to everyone in the school. Even if you weren't necessarily in their class, you still were probably affected by them. Because I'm pretty sure between the 4 of them, probably everyone who went to Redbud High School for the last 30 years at least went to a prom or a homecoming that was in some way associated with one of them. So I think we give them a round of applause and a drink for that. So thank you all. Congratulations.
Now, not everybody wanted to come and talk, but all of the invitations went out with 4 slips of paper in them to come back with RSVPs. So some people who are sitting here smiling have written you wonderful notes. You know the little books you got at the breakfast? Well, there were extra pages in them? That's why. So each one of you in those baskets over there, in addition to many cards, have a fat little envelope full of notes from former students and colleagues and retirees and family. So, yeah. So we've heard so much about all the hard work you did. What in the world are you going to do now that you're retired? Well, we're hearing stories about a kitchen and a corporate building exercise program. We're hearing about trips any time of the year besides summer. We're hearing about setting up a personal art studio. We're hearing about lots of grandmothers. So I think there's going to be plenty to keep you guys busy. But there's lots of grown kids and almost grown kids and boisterously happy grandkids. But we think they're probably really looking forward to some one-on-one time with their grandmas and their aunts and their moms this summer. We think that's part of it. Are there any grandkids who would like to talk? Hi, do you want to come up and say something? I'm not sure if we can get this. There you go, buddy. There you go. I love
You want to say something? Hey, you like your grandma? You dad? You like your sucker? Yeah. I'm gonna say something about that.
I like
I love you too, Don.
Oh, you got is Cassandra going to?
Well, I actually got to go to Red Bud every single day with my aunt for kindergarten because I went to St. John the Baptist. And she would drag me along to go do IEPs, to go do her file cabinets. Every day to come and clean out her rooms, and she really didn't do much work. She was a great teacher from what I hear. So, congratulations.
Come here, Claire.
We got a whole crew, I'm not sure. They got another big grand.
Good job.
What? Why did we do that? What do we want to say? Chase loves you, he says. Yeah. Cool, did you say I love Grandma? Say Grandma. Let's go. Can you see that you see me on a clock? Hi. Well, I had a great time in the class this year and last year. The retired colleagues and the families, and the kids and grandkids and nieces are not the only people blessed to have known you. Some of your colleagues, this is where it's going to get tough. I gotta get this out. Some of your colleagues are still at school and going to be at school. Can't get it. Another 4 years without my best buddies. It's going to be tough. I'm going to make it. It's going to be tough. 3 and a half. Okay, 3 and a half when it says.
Our 28-year friendship is so rich with memories, personal memories, professional memories. Then Paulette came in a little later. Little did I know, 28 years ago when I was shopping venues for eating lunch at Redwood High School, because we eat all over the school, my first year, and I pop in and out of all the different places people ate. I had no idea that walking into that foods room was going to be the beginning of a 28-year friendship. A sisterhood is what we call ourselves. So, for 28 years, born of the same faith, abiding faith, we have weathered all kinds of storms. We have celebrated weddings and graduations and births and baptisms. We have prayed with each other and for each other through sickness and grief and pain and all of the stresses that go with trying to be the very best mom and aunt and sister and daughter and wife and friend and teacher that we can be. It has been such a blessing to call you guys my friends. So this is a toast to 4 colleagues who have made me a better teacher and a better person because of our friendship. Now there are quite a few people here who are current colleagues with these ladies. Do any of you want to say anything? You work with them whether you're working in the kitchen or whether you're working in the classroom or whether you're working in the hall, in the shop. Here comes Pam. Yes. Another good buddy. I've been with all 4 of these women the past 20 years. I've learned lots of things from them. I've never graduated yet. Someday soon, I hope. But they've all wonderful women. They care about their students. They care about their colleagues. They put forth effort. Even in their last year when you thought they think, I'm giving up, they did give up. They still care about the kids. And we're going to miss them terribly. I'm going to miss them next year. And it won't be the same. But I love you all. Thank you. Before those teachers. Anyone else? I didn't know we were going to do this. I had something ready, and I'd be reading it, okay? Something I wrote in your little notes, and I may not have written it in all of them, but for those of you who don't know, I worked at Dairy Queen for almost 9 years. And be it an Institute Day or the first week of school when there was no lunch served or whatever, you ladies, maybe not Paulette at first, but you ladies would come and have your lunch at Dairy Queen, and I would wait on you. Okay. Dorothy Brown, that was the head cook before me, I went to school with her daughter, and when the job came up, you know, in the paper to apply for a cook's job at the high school, I jumped at it just because I just knew it would be a wonderful place to work. All 3 of my kids went through there, and like Deb said, we all had our good times, our bad times, our happy times, sorrowful times, and I've always had your back, and you've always had mine. I see you all in study hall. I see you guys, not so much at breakfast. You girls don't eat breakfast. But I see you lots at lunch, and I know you're going to miss soup days, and when I have them, I will give them you, so yeah, come on over. We'll have soup. Anyway, I just want you all to know how much I will miss you and how much I treasure your friendship. For the 25 years I've been here, and when I worked at Dairy Queen, I had no idea this would come to pass. So I am thankful every day that Dorothy Brown and Mr. Holmes, U.D. Holmes hired me, and the rest is history. So I love you all.
it's been such a privilege to work with these guys, and they accepted me as the old teacher when I started. I only have 13 years in, and they have like 2 billion. But they're wonderful people and such great friends, and I'm going to miss them so much. Linda's going to come back and have lunch with me every day, but it'll be okay because she's going to bring it with her. But they are, and I want to thank you guys for letting me into your hearts and into your circle of friends, and you've been there for me through thick and thin, and I will miss you. And Paulette, you're coming back, right, to go to Decatur? I think I already put your name on the reservation, but it is. These guys are great, and I will miss them terribly. And thanks again, guys.
When I was hired on to be their last principal, it was a little bit intimidating because I found out how many years these amazing women had accumulated in the service of Red Bud High School, and I was like, wow. And in areas that are not your traditional, subject areas, they're not math, English, and so it was really. You all have known them for so many years, and I got to know them for one. And I learned very quickly their devotion to kids and to Red Bud High School. And then I also learned their devotion and how wonderful they are as human beings, as mothers, as wives, as friends, as colleagues. But their devotion to kids has been something that has reaffirmed why we all get into this business. In your last year, when some might be putting their heels on the table, you guys are still committing everything you have to kids. Paulette is still working for the National Convention. Linda is still harassing our custodian to make sure the room is good for our next art teacher. Vicki Peppes is still going to help a young man with his ACT in a couple of weeks so that he can play football at Lindenwood. Joyce, what she's been preaching all these years is pursuing this love of learning, whether it be in the farmers market or your next venture when it comes to teaching foods. It never ends. Their devotion to learning, devotion to kids. And it is an honor for me to have got to work with you for 1 year. And all of you that have gotten to work with her and know her for all these years, I'm jealous. Because these are special ladies. So thank you. Your devotion to kids and what's best for kids and to Red Bud High School is amazing. Thank you, and good luck. And if you could please raise them, if you got them, please. So what's best for kids in Red Bud High School, these four ladies embody it. Thank you. Congratulations.
You guys are hilarious. 26 years ago, I was a senior. I graduated 26 years ago. 3 of you were there to see it. The first thing I wanted to say with that is that I don't know exactly how I will. I mean, we've had some now we're getting some graduates teaching, and I appreciate the way that you were with me, because as soon as I walked in as a teacher, we were colleagues. I wasn't somebody that had to prove something, and I really appreciate that. It made it a lot easier for me. From a personal standpoint, I had no idea that one of you would be my mother-in-law someday. That was a surprise. No idea. Pep, thank you so much for sending me so many football players. If it wouldn't be for her department, we wouldn't be where we're at today. And this is the hardest part for me when I got the job, and you get to be personal with each other. Until I married into the family, you were Mrs. Carnahan, and Joyce is still kind of tough on me. Pep, I'm sorry, you were always Pep. Mrs. Frank, like I still say Mrs. Frank, very little do I say Linda. And that's because I've got so much respect for you. And Miss Sterneman, to me this is Miss Sterneman. So always calls you that. And you guys, great role models for me as a teacher. Especially as we get some of these people in here that are graduates, and you guys paved the way for me on how to treat these, treat them as equal colleagues, even though you guys had so many more years, no pun intended, on me, but you treated me as an equal, and that meant a lot. It made my job a lot easier. And and the thing is that you got to realize these four people right here. When you do something for a long time, it gets to be repetitive, and it gets to be a chore instead of a love of what you're doing. And out of the whole high school building, I think the biggest under years experience is the smiles, okay, and the positive vibes that they put out in our school. I think are going to be the biggest thing that's going to be missed. Thank you. Kelly?
Maybe I'll end this up. But I wasn't planning on doing this, but I just think I have to tell these ladies something, and I have a lot of friends, colleagues, old girlfriends, old daughters, boyfriends, and you name it out here. And I don't know if I'm the oldest person here, but just about. I started out in kindergarten in like 64. Then I moved up to 7th grade and did that for 21 years. And my junior high colleagues always said, "Oh yeah, Kay, we know, we see what happens to you. We know what's coming for us with our kids and everything." And oh boy, mine were some challenges in some ways. And they had all these people. But the funny thing about my life has been 16 years ago, maybe 17, the state offered an early out to try to get rid of some of the old higher paid teachers, and I signed up because I had harsh things I really needed to do. So I retired 16 years ago, and when I retired, I knew that to live in the manner to which I wanted, it was accustomed, whatever, I was going to have a part-time job, and I taught writing lessons. I tried to work in Edward Jones. I was a teacher's aide at Beck one time. That didn't fly. But anyhow, I knew there was the perfect part-time job out there somewhere, and it was going to find me. Well, this past year, it did. I got employed the day before school started. Mr. Tallman, who I love and feel like I could be his grandmother and give him advice, and hired me. They needed a part-time library aide. And I thought, that sounds, what could be better, And it's been that way. It was like being in Borders every morning for 4 hours. Dad even makes the coffee. You have the coffee smell. I had stacks of books piled up to read. If these dang kids weren't always trying to check out books, I could have gotten a lot more read. But anyhow, and supposedly they'll probably hire me back. I'm one of those people they pink slip in the spring. But with only left, they'll hire me back, and so I will take care of Deb for you the best that I can. Except I don't have a lunch hour, food. But just to give you a little hint of what to expect. Today, I've been so busy since I retired 16 years ago, but the last few days have sort of typical, and that's why I didn't get down here for the surprise. I was so tired I collapsed in my recliner. But Thursday night I had to go to the history thing in Waterloo to learn about women's work. Yesterday I took up trap shooting in my old age. I shot in the U.S. Open and I got runner-up in the ladies' two, which is old ladies. Guess how many people were in ladies' two? But I didn't totally embarrass myself. Then I had to go to the Optimist Rodeo last night because my dear friend Carkeen Helms, also an educator, puts it on, and he had the fire at his barn and everything. It was really good. Today I went on the Monroe County Garden Tour in the morning, and then by the time I get home I had to collapse a little and come down here. You'll love retirement. We have one more group of people who need to speak. And I need to explain before they get started. Several people have come up to those of us with these corsages and said, "Oh, what a great party." And I need to explain something to you because I don't know how much credit they will take. But this party was born in the hearts of Steve and Andrea and Jerry and Bob. This was not me. This was now, so cheers. Darlene and Amy and I were millions, and Katie and Becky helped with an awful lot, but this was born in the hearts of these people who love these four women more than life itself. And the stories that they told, as we also told lots of lies, and we had to do lots of lying and secret things to be able to pull this off. But every time there was a story about their wives or their sister that was something special. And I needed to tell that. I needed you guys to know that this was from their heart. They get what makes these four ladies tick and why education is so important to them. And I am glad to be part of that. You're very lucky.
First of all, Joyce has been teaching all these years, and maybe not everybody knows this. 30 years ago, she took on a guy with 3 kids, too. So put that with teaching, and that's pretty much an accomplishment in itself. Anyway, she's always calling these girls sisters, and I've been around 30 years, so they feel like sisters to me, too. And I love every one of you, I really do. And you guys have been talking about taking trips and things. That'd be great, because I don't know what the heck I'm going to do with Joyce now. Anyway, I know everybody's been saying everything about your teaching. We all know that, and it's great. But I love you like a family. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Very good. I knew I wanted to come up here tonight and say a few words about Paulette at her retirement party. And I'm not good at this. This is not easy for me to do. In fact, I was so apprehensive about it that I mentioned it to some of the people I work a couple weeks ago. I said, you know what, before long I got to stand up in front of a bunch of people and give a retirement speech. And they started getting all excited. And I said, hey, wait a minute. I explained to them that, no, it's not my retirement. It's my wife's retirement. So they were no help at all. But I knew that I had to, how hard would that be? But you know what? She did it. In fact, she graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Education in 3 years' time.
She worked right through. Summer breaks, kept on going until she graduated. She did her student teaching at New Athens. And while she was at New Athens, she heard about an opening as a business teacher at Freeburg High School. So she applied for that job, and she got it. But during the first week that she taught at Freeburg High School as a business teacher, she had to ask for a day off because she had to go back to Carbondale and walk with her graduating class. Now that's unusual, isn't it? But that's how she did it. And then she worked at Freeburg for 3 or 4 years, for a total of 6, but 3 or 4 years until we met and we were married. And then 2 years later, our oldest son, Alex, was born. And if I mention what a dedicated teacher Paulette is, I think she's as dedicated a mother. She just could not bring herself to leave those babies. So we talked it over and we decided maybe we can do this. And so Paulette became a stay-at-home mom. Now I know we were fortunate that we were able to do this. Not all people can, but we were able to do it. So for the next 12 years, Paulette was a stay-at-home mom. And if I might borrow from something I read in a Mother's Day card that one of our sons gave her for Mother's Day, he put in there, "Mom, no child could have had a better mother." And that's the truth. So she was a stay-at-home mom for 12 years, and then she had an opportunity to go to Beck Vocational Center to teach for 2 years. And then in 1992, there was an opening as a business teacher at Redbud High School, and Paulette applied for the job and got the job. So for the next 20 years, she taught business at Redbud High. And I can still see her coming home from school, walking through that door with that big book bag on her shoulder. And I would say, "Well, Paulette, how was your day?" Every time she always said, "Oh, just fine, just fine." And I might add, most of the time when she walked through the door, she was singing. And then later on, I would say, "Well, Mom, do you have a lot of homework tonight?" And she would always give me the same answer, "Oh, not too bad, not too bad." And then later on, she'd drag out a pile of papers that thick. You know what I'm talking about, Mr. Henny. And she would work and work and work at that. And I remember asking Paulette a number of times down through the years, "Do you realize what an impact you have on your students? Do you realize what a difference you make?" And she would always say, "Oh, Dad, I don't know. I don't know if I make much difference at all." Well, I wish Mr. Miller was here tonight, because I would like to ask him, did you think 43 years ago, when you encouraged this 17-year-old girl by saying, "You can go to college, you should go to college, you need to go to college," do you think he realized what a difference he was making? I can only say, wow. Thank you, Mr. Miller. And Paulette, are you a great teacher? I think so. I've seen for a lot of years the dedication to your job that you've given. As far as the subject matter, I don't really know how to evaluate that. I know that there's awards right over there on the table from your peers that probably testify to that. I'm sure it was top notch. I know that you took a lot of FBLA students and competed on the state level and the national level very successfully. That's a tribute to that. But one thing I do know, this I am sure of, all the students that passed through your classrooms through the years, and there were many, I know for sure if all they had to do was observe and see how you went about your profession, how hard you worked, your dedication, how you did everything in a ladylike manner, in your appearance, in your demeanor, and everything you did. If they only saw that, then they will have learned a very special education in itself. They will have learned how a fine person lives a life. And that's a special education in itself. And Paulette, you did it all with a sound in your heart and a smile on your face. I am so proud of you.
I don't know if everyone knows me. I am Vicki's younger sister. Just in case you want to know. Back in 1977, my older sister graduated from college, and I was only a junior in high school at the time. And I thought it was really neat that my sister graduated college and she was going to be a teacher at Redbud High School. I'll never forget when we went over to her classroom the first time to get it all set up. I was very proud that she graduated, got this job, first job, and she was going to be a teacher and teach special education kids, which I thought was the neatest thing in the world because there were so many people that couldn't do it, and she was so special that she was able to take these kids and really teach them long-time goals and goals for everyday life. Over the years, I would come during spring break when I was in college, since I was younger than my older sister. I started a spring break. I would go over and spend a couple of days over there and see what she accomplished. She was very active in the Special Olympics, and I met a lot of her students, especially in the early years. She had taken so many of them that had not a whole lot to look forward to, and was able to teach them the everyday skills and got them through high school and was able to get them a job that they would be able to do for the rest of their life. And she had this special talent that not everybody could do. So I went ahead and I graduated college, as being the younger sister. And I met my husband, and we got married many years later. We had our first child, and I was so proud that my sister was able to take my Cassandra, who was already up here, to St. John the Baptist School with her aunt every Monday, Wednesday, Friday to kindergarten, and have that special time with her aunt. And on spring break, my kids, especially Vanessa, who still doesn't know, would go over to Redbud during spring break and help Aunt Vicki teach, because we thought that was the coolest thing, is to teach with Aunt Vicki and help set up everything in her classroom. So I stand here today on behalf of my brother, who knew it was unable not to. And as you all know, that our parents have been gone for a very long time. And I know that they're looking down and they're so proud of you and what you've accomplished. And I'm very proud of you too. I love you very much.
Boy, I have to follow all of that. First off, I have two toasts actually. I want to take you all back to the fall of 1968. I was a senior in high school. I was in physics class. Sitting there in physics class at Jabot High School with all of the other students on the A track, which meant we were all headed for college. These were the same students that I took my math classes with, my English classes with. These were the same students that the year before I had chemistry, and the year before that I had biology with. I remember our teacher, Sister Mary Catherine, a very serious person. She took her job very seriously. And Sister Mary Catherine was teaching us physics, but had also taught us chemistry. She had also taught us biology the year before that. So we knew her and she knew us. We trusted her. In chemistry class, she taught us how to use our slide rules. She taught us about powers of 10. As I recall, 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd power is the number of moles or molecules in a mole. She taught us about differentially permeable membranes in biology class. So anyway, we trusted her. So it's this typical fall morning, and for some reason everybody's biorhythms were at their peak or something. I don't know what it was. But she writes an axiom on her board, on the chalkboard. Do we still have chalkboards? No. Anyway, she writes this axiom, which is a mathematical equation that we take for granted because it's so obvious. Okay, she writes this axiom on the board. She draws a pendulum. She draws the pivot point P and the string S and the weight W. And then she's going to talk about the period of the pendulum T. And she's drawn all this on the board. And she starts with this axiom. And then she puts another axiom on the board. And so if this is true and this is true, then this has to be true. Well, even Jerry Franklin's paying attention, like complete attention. She had us. She knew us. We knew her. We trusted her. After 25, 30 minutes, she ends up with, so it follows then that the period of a pendulum is dependent only on the length of the string. It was like you turned the lights on in the room. Everybody, all of the students went, oh, yeah. And she stood there with just a little bit of a twisted smile because she knew she had nailed that lecture. She knew she had us. She knew we all got it. There would be no questions at the end of this lecture. So why did I tell you that story? Well, because I am not the only one in this group that has had an experience like that. We've all had experiences like that. We have all had that moment of enlightenment, or whatever you want to call it, where the teacher just really brought it home to us. And I invite you all now to think back when you had a teacher that did that for you, when you had this person that really made you think. And I remember this pendulum thinking, yeah, that is why when we turn out of the screw at the bottom of a pendulum clock, it goes faster. Or when you loosen it, it goes slower. That's how you adjust it. All of these things made sense to me. So, I told you I had two toasts. My first toast is to all of the great teachers out there. There are a lot of them here. We all have them in our memory. Many of them are gone. But to teachers everywhere, to educators everywhere, whether they're high school shop teachers or whether they're college professors or whether they're kindergarten reading teachers, let's have a toast. Let's drink to teachers. Now, anytime that somebody would ask me to make a kitchen for them, it would be really easy to go to their house and say, yeah, we'll put the refrigerator here and the stove goes here, and yeah, you'll love it. We can do a little thing here and all that. I remember when we did our kitchen at home, it was the worst thing I ever encountered because when it meant that much to me, I mean, I could do somebody's kitchen, I didn't see it again. But when I'm doing Linda's kitchen, I want this to be right. So this talk here is difficult for me because this one means a lot to me. First off, Joyce, I want to thank you for inspiring Linda to be such a wonderful cook. Paulette, I want to thank you because everything Steve said is true, and I know that is evidenced by the fact that the last bell rang at 3:08, and you and Linda very seldom got home before 4:30. Now, that's a teacher. That's somebody that stays in case somebody has a question. Vicki, and I also thank you for letting me stay in touch with Steve and his god-awful work schedule. So that's how I found out whether Steve was working or not. Vicki, I am proud to call several of your past students friends in Prairie Orchard. And still to this day, they are as successful as they can be. They're very successful. They have lots of friends who are very happy. But still to this day, when I say those two words, Mrs. Peppes, they get this deer in the headlight look. But then their face softens, and you see a grin. This appreciation they have for you. I never quite knew what you did in the classroom, but whatever it was, it worked. Linda and I go back to a time when we were both classmates in Catherine Milovich's Art 101A, Color and Design. Linda sat up in the front of the room, I sat in the back of the room. Of course, I would meander up to the front of the room to see her work. She would sometimes come back and see mine. We kind of had a mutual appreciation for each other's work, plus other things, I guess. But anyway, at one time we were classmates, and now I think that I am Linda's longest running student. When many years ago, when we would go to an art museum, I would be way ahead of her. I would get so far ahead of her, and I would be ready to go to the next gallery, and it's just like, But you know, that's changed now. Now I'm the slow one. She has taught me how to appreciate things like that. She has taught me, as I'm sure she's taught so many other students, to kind of be myself. I always had a little bit of trouble following all the rules, and Linda taught me that that's okay. It's okay to not be conventional. It's okay to get a little bit out of the box, maybe a lot out of the box. And I thank you for that, Linda. You have been my harshest critic and my greatest supporter. She can be really brutal, but that's okay. That's okay. When I create something, she respects me as an artist. When I create something, other people say, "Oh, that's nice." It isn't until Linda passes judgment that I really feel that I have done something. Linda and I are both right-brained, which means that we are creative, and we need these long periods of time to create what we want. These long periods of uninterrupted time. I've always been amazed how you could get these students into the right side of their brain and back out again in 43 minutes. How you could go to work go to school at a certain time and come home at a certain time when Linda, that's none of us. So I raise my glass again to the best teacher I've ever had, Linda.
Conclude this with one last toast. May your days be measured only by sunrises and sunsets. May your dreams be limited only by your imagination and your energy. May your joy be forever etched on the faces of those you love. And may there be no more bells.
How many years of teaching have all these girls done? 133 years.
Here's to 133 years. Thank you, Deb. Take a seat with the rest of them, Deb. You belong there. When we put this little thing together, it was, it actually goes back to Bob's 60th birthday party. He didn't think he was 60 yet. And we started planning then and sneaking around, and I just think it's so nice that we could sneak around and nobody is even questioning where we're going. If I told Linda I was going somewhere with Steve, that was good enough. So, anyway, the food is ready. I can smell it. Before we break up here and get in line to get our food, I'd like to thank a couple of people. Jenny Pensino, class of I don't know what, but a student of Joyce's with J. Fire's Restaurant, owner and operator of J. Fire's Restaurant, did our hors d'oeuvre earlier today. Becky Kennedy, yes. Becky Kennedy Cowell, it is now, baked the cake, and Becky did this with just a month or two's notice, and Becky has a year's waiting list. Her cakes, she's been she's a pastry chef, and all of that is due to Joyce. Lisa Durbin was also a student of Joyce's. She said, I really wasn't that good in her class because I didn't make souffles and stuff. I was a short order cook. But Lisa has prepared our meal. All of you that got invitations, the artwork on there was from Adam Ratt's class of 2000, one of Linda's students. And so we tried to tie in as much of what these ladies have created in this world. I had a wonderful time getting old addresses. Actually, Linda, I can't wait to tell you about what all of your old students are doing. All those nights I went down to the shop, I was really sitting on the front porch because I had cell phone reception. So anyway, before we get up to eat, I'd like to ask my, I guess, older sister, Sister Barbara Dean, to give the prayer.
We are going to eat, I promise you. But Jerry said, do this because you're a teacher. And I have to tell you, 5 people and the other teachers out there, I've had a lot of opportunities in my life and done a lot of things. But I'm proudest to be a teacher. So I thought, how do you pray and bless food in the presence of these people? So God said, let them set the table. So here it is. Thank you, God, for the many wonderful ways that you nourish us, especially with your gifts of food, family, and friends. As this gathering of families and friends prepares to share the gift of food, we pause to give thanks first for the 4 incredible women who are cause for such celebration. These 4 women have been nurturing and nourishing the minds and hearts of students for our collective 133 years. And here's their recipe for success. Vicki brings the salad. Salads with their many and diverse ingredients require a special kind of patience. Each ingredient calls for a different kind of preparation. Additionally, the carrot or celery or whatever has to learn to appreciate the gift that it brings to the entire salad. Thank you, Vicki, for patiently nurturing each student, helping each to find a fulfilling gift to contribute to society. Of course, Joyce brings the entree. If the person who receives the plate is to enjoy the meal to its utmost, it's very important that the main dish be prepared just so. The chef has to know the food being prepared and how to enhance its flavor. Thank you, Joyce, for not only teaching your students the art of preparing food, but how to turn life's many experiences into gourmet events. No plate is complete without the sides. Paulette has been preparing the sides, the variety of colors and tastes that enhance the entree. This takes great skill in knowing what needs special seasoning and how best to prepare it, roasting, baking, sautéing, boiling. Thank you, Paulette, for helping students anticipate and competently master the skills they will need to succeed in whatever profession they pursue. No meal is complete without dessert. Linda has introduced her students to chefs who specialized in the wide variety of flavors and textures, and has taught them to pursue whole cookbooks of possibilities. Who can resist the sweetness of personal expression and such a palette of seemingly endless choices? Thank you, Linda, for enriching the lives of your students with the great masters of art and helping them to appreciate the beauty inside each of them and their self-expression in a variety of medium. One more thing. a wonderful meal needs to be complemented with good drink. And that's the rest of us. The family and friends of each of these women, those whose love and encouragement helped each become the incredible teacher she has been and will continue to be in so many new and wonderful ways. Finally, God, bless this food we are about to share. Bless all those whose labor in field and kitchen and the many stops along the way makes this meal such a gift. And bless each of us as we enjoy both food and fellowship. Amen.
Amen. We're done.
One note to here, we also, for anyone who is a vegetarian here, we have some lasagna here that is for vegetarians, so go ahead and I think it's at the end of the table. So anyway, we can all eat. Okay. Let's get started, ladies.
Ladies, host first.